How's everybody doing? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. My name's Sean Miller, as you can see there, hipster Viz Ninja, current and two-time Tableau visionary, Tableau social ambassador. I've been working in Tableau for a little over 9 years. If this is your first time on the channel or seeing one of these live streams, I really appreciate you tuning in. Please go ahead and subscribe, like the video, and it really helps out the channel. My premise here, so I've been doing these live streams in totality for a couple of years now, though they've pretty much been generally focused on Workout Wednesday challenges. And so definitely go check out Workout Wednesday if you're not familiar, workout-wednesday.com. And basically it's a analytics focused challenge. We have multiple tools available. We have Tableau challenges, Power BI challenges, and now this year we're proud to welcome Sigma Computing to the challenge, to the family of tools that we offer challenges for. So that's what I've done historically. You can check a lot of the replays out on my YouTube channel or previous events on LinkedIn. I am dual streaming this, so I'm streaming in both tools right now, so which is really fun. So anyway, a couple of years now I've been doing live streams on Workout Wednesday challenges. That is a very different type of challenge. Hello Alan. And I am doing these now as a way to stretch my skills. Because with Workout Wednesday, I'm always working towards something. I know what the end result looks like. I know how the end result should function, all those types of things. Whereas with these challenges that I'm starting to do now, Makeover Monday and Back to Viz Basics on Tuesdays, right here at this time, it's a little bit different because I don't know where I'm going, I don't know where I'm headed, and I don't know what I'm going to build. That's the other thing about these live streams, is they are truly live, in the fact that I have not done any preparation. I have not looked at the data. I have not seen a whole lot of content related to whatever we're going to visualize. So it is truly just a flow state, right? It's a Tableau visualization flow state. You get to see how I think, see how I approach data, see how I analyze data in Tableau, how I use Tableau, and we learn a little bit along the way. So that's what this is. Without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So, Workout Wednesday 2024. Let's see here. We've got the world's highest paid athletes. So let's go ahead and take a look at. I always like to start from the original chart, and then just kind of see what we can do from there. So Forbes is got some stuff here talking about the world's highest paid athletes, and then down below they've got a table of everyone, and it looks like they did the top 50. So the top 50 people who are by their highest paid, right? So you can see total earnings, and then they have on the field and off the field earnings, right? So let's see, does 90 plus 136 equal 90 plus 46 equals 136? Very good. So the sum of on field and off field equals their total. We also have their name, their sport, and then obviously their rank based on total earnings. We have the ability to filter. We also have the ability to search for a specific name. Cool. So, in true Makeover Monday fashion, we should approach these I'm in my Workout Wednesday. We should approach these Makeover Mondays. I like to do it very formulaic. I like to think of what works well, what doesn't work well, what would I change? So let's talk about that with this challenge here. So what works well? Well, it's a table. Tables are awesome. Don't let anybody tell you they're not, because they are. tables are great. Tables are a great way of displaying data, displaying values. I want to know this value here, right? It's not meant for what tables are not for is comparison, right? It's going to be very hard for you to compare Cristiano Ronaldo to Rory McIlroy, right? Because you've got to scroll, you've got to remember what it is, you've got to, you have to scroll, you have to remember, okay, that kind of thing. So those are the things that work well. Other things that works well, I like the fact that you can change the ranking. So if you want to look at the 50th most highest paid athlete, you can do that very quickly. I also like that you can search and you can filter by all of the different types. I like that. So what doesn't work well? Well, like I said, usually what does work well also can also work in what doesn't. It's very hard for me to compare, right? It's very hard to compare across either of the dimensions, right? It's hard for me to compare across name, right? It's very hard for me to be like, what's Cristiano Ronaldo versus Russell Wilson? I don't know. In relation to soccer, is Cristiano Ronaldo in relation to soccer? How much this 136 is that just is that a lot? Is that in relation to all of the other soccer players on the top 5 or on the top 50 list? So, so what I'm thinking about is I kind of walk and then as I'm kind of, looking at this and I'm thinking about those questions, it allows me to, no, you're good. You're good. You're good, Jesus. All good. I appreciate you commenting. Really helps me validate that people enjoy what I'm doing. So, as I'm kind of thinking through these questions, I'm thinking through these different scenarios. I'm already starting to formulate what are some things that I'm going to try out whenever we get into Tableau. A couple things that I would like to see. I definitely like the ability to filter by sport and by person, but I think I want to know. I want to know some of these values, and I want to be able to compare some of these values in relation to the sport that these people play in. So I might look into something like that, like being able to show basically where does this come it's maybe some sort of a jitter plot or something along those lines. I don't know. We'll play with that. I have the ability to change the rank, right? I can change the rank sort, but maybe I want to be able to sort by, I know that this is automatically sorted by total earnings, but I also, if you give me these values, I'm going to want to dive into those. Like as an end user, as an analyst, as a natural born analyst, I'm going to be curious who makes more on-field earnings than off-field. Who has more endorsements, right? That's essentially what these off-field earnings are, is going to be those endorsement type of deals. So that might be interesting. So anyway, so those are kind of the things that I'm going to be thinking as I'm going to start going through this. So, all right, so let's go get the data and let's dive in. Yes, thank you so much for everyone tuning in. Appreciate it. Why don't you go ahead, as I'm downloading this data and you're watching me do these things, drop in, if you could, drop in the chat where you're tuning in from. What country or locale are you tuning in from? I'm curious where everyone's tuning in from today. So I will tell you that I am in, let's see, yeah, let's go. And then I can tell you that I'm in Kansas City, Missouri in the USA. Kansas City is located right in the middle of the country, both horizontally and vertically, latitude, longitude. We are right there, right in the middle. So right in the middle of the country. Peru, awesome, excellent. Minneapolis, nice. My parent company that I work for, Concord USA, is actually located in Minneapolis, and actually has an office in Peru. So all the way from India. It's almost midnight. My goodness, Rish, nice job. Nigeria, Paris, love it. That's amazing. That's so awesome. Okay. I appreciate everyone tuning in. It's super awesome to have everyone tuning in. So thank you. I really appreciate it. All right, so let's dive in here. What do you say? All right, so we've got, what did we have? Was it, what kind of it's an Excel file. Very good. So we'll and date added. There we go. Forbes list. Very good. I think, yep, all of this is good. I don't know if I'm going to use this rank, but we'll see. Because I'm not going to use that rank. I'm going to make my own rank because I can. All right, so I'm going to hide that. So here's a quick tip. This is one of the great things about there's two ways that you can hide fields. Two ways you can hide fields. One is in the data source, and one is in the extract. So what do I mean by that? So right here, we are in the data source window, right? So working in Tableau, as you can see, I hid that rank field, right? Prior to creating the extract. So now when I go to sheet 1, it's going to ask me, hey, you need to save your extract. I click OK. I do the default location. There we go. Now, if I do, you can see here my show hidden fields. It's dithered, right? Because there are no fields that are hidden. But wait, I thought I just hid one in the data source. I hid it before we extracted. So let me go back and I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's edit the data source here. Let's go back. And now when I'm in this window, I go to this little gear icon on the settings and I show hidden fields. And there it is. Now I hide the field, or I unhide the field. And as you can see, Tableau has to regenerate the extract. Now I go to sheet 1. Now it's there. And now from here I can hide it. All right, so there's two ways that you can hide it. One, you can get to it from the data source. I'm calling this, this is the data source, right? This tab down here, this is the data source. And one in the extract, which is what we're dealing with right now, right? So depending on how your organization does their data management, data governance, you may have hidden fields in the extract and you may have fields in the data source, or you may have a combination of both. So just something to keep in mind. Okay. And then you can see here right now, show hidden fields. I'm seeing it. That's why. But I'll go ahead and uncheck that. I do think having things like that is good. But what I think I'm going to do is, and then what I can do is I can do, we'll do total earnings, sort that, and then we'll have on field and off field. Right? So look at this, Roger Federer. So let's go back to our example. Right? So let's go back here and let's look at this. Let's look at this table. Let's keep this table up in the background. Now, what are some things that pop out to me? What are some things that, because you guys are just chatting, or hey, drop it in. What are some things that pop out to you immediately when you look at this? Immediately, the thing that pops out to me, Roger Federer makes no on-field earnings. Is that right? Or do we just not have, so this is a matter of magnitude, right? So it appears very quickly that Roger Federer does not make any on-field earnings, right? But it took me to hover. He only makes $100,000, which is bananas. Is that actually right? That is bananas. That's wild. Roger Federer makes $955 million, $95 million just from endorsements, and he only makes $100,000 on the tennis court. That's wild. That is crazy. And there's a couple of Serena Williams again, $300,000 and then we have Tom Brady again, who makes 1.2 off of on field. So again, you can see here, like, that is that's really crazy, right? So these two are they're anomalies, right? They're anomalies when it comes to the rest. So so here we are, we're kind of recreating the he is retired. I think the data here is last year. Let's see, the methodology. It's been 8 months since Roger Federer, 4 months. All right, so this came out in May of 23. So, yeah, so he retired. So, yeah, Tom Brady retired. So this is 2022, right? Yeah, I think this is going to be based on 2022's data. It looks like you can go here to see the full the methodology behind how they got that. So interesting. Okay, so here's another thing that I'm kind of thinking about, right? Like, what if, because these total earnings are what if we do? We could just do it here, right? I'm going to do measure names and measure values. I'm going to do on and off field as my measure values, and then I'll have measure values over here. So that's interesting. Oh, no, measure values here, and then I'll have measure names on color. There we go. Okay, that worked. All right, so you can see here. So this is kind of an interesting view right here, right? So this kind of shows you kind of a composite, right? So this is a part to whole relationship. So maybe instead of doing, because then that equals the total, right? So again, you're able to see the composite of totals, the ranking of total, but then within the total, you're able to see the part to whole relationship. And then over here, these two allow you to see where you have the same baseline, right? So you can see each kind of, that one. So that's kind of nice. I like that. But then another way that we could look at this is a scatter plot, right? Name. And then maybe we'll put sport on color. And yeah, there's really no correlation there, because a correlation is going to be a dotted line here, right? And there's no real, so that doesn't really show me anything. But one thing I was curious about is showing maybe the percent of total, right? So the percent of total for each. So maybe, so there's a couple ways we could do this. Percent of total. Let's do a percent of total, and that's initially going to be table down, but I want it to be table across, and yeah, that's not going to work. So we have to build out a calculation for that. So let's do on-field percent total. So that's going to be the sum of on-field divided by the sum of total earnings. And then we'll duplicate that, or we'll number format that to a percentage. Just do 1 for now, or do none, and then we'll duplicate that and we'll get the off-field percentage. So again, this is kind of the way that, I'm just kind of looking at things, seeing if anything pops out at me, and then, we'll kind of go from there. I don't like because I renamed it, I can get rid of this copy. Another quick tip, if you are making a lot of calculations based off of the same thing, or you want them to have the same value or the same format, if you duplicate a field, it will retain the number format. So I don't have to customize this one because it just carried over, which is really nice. So then maybe let's look at let's clear the table calculation here. Clear. And let's look at as a percentage. So what if we did this? On field as the label, and then off field as the label. Right? So then you can see who has, and then it kind of makes sense, right? You have but that's not really, the labels aren't really, I don't really like the labels there. So these, yeah, and then we'll do, oh, that was off field. On field is here, and off field is there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see, what else can we do here? What if we wanted to show where does, that's what I want to do. I want to show sport by, and then I'll put every name. All right, so this is interesting. So this is just a unit chart that shows the number of players. All right, this shows the composition of the list. So this shows the number of players within each sport. So you can see here, basketball has, a lot. So that's kind of an interesting kind of metadata view. That was it was again really hard to, it was really hard to get that. Lots of golf, lots of football, lots of, and this is American football because then we've got soccer down here. Okay, but then what I'll have is and then I'll do like total earnings here. And then I'll turn this into a circle. Make this entire view. Bump up the size a little bit. So then you can kind of see within each, and we probably don't need a 0 because we're not comparing. So we can see the full spread. And then if we wanted to see how these are kind of overlapping here, if we wanted to get rid of that overlap, we could just do a random, and then we'll do edit axis, independent, like that, and get rid of this. Well, it doesn't matter because we're not going to show it. So this is just noise, right? This is just, so we can just hide this. That, and then we can do some formatting to remove those. Well, maybe we'll keep that to show that, but we'll get rid of the grid lines. Well, We'll get rid of column dividers, and we'll get rid of all the grid lines. And we'll get rid of 0 lines. So I kind of like this. Like you can kind of, and then to further add a little bit of this, and then, I don't know, what do you think? Off-field earnings on size. That makes the really small ones really, really small, kind of hard to see. I don't know if I like that, because I want to provide equal weight. But this kind of allows you to see, like you can see the banding, right? You can kind of see, like there's a lot that are kind of in this 45 to 60, 70, 45 to 70. And then there's another group, you know, and then you've got these 4 outliers here, right? Like you can see those are kind of really outliers. So that's kind of interesting. I like that. That's kind of interesting. All right, so what are we going to do here? How do we want to visualize this? So what if we do like, how do we want to remake this? I think I mean I really like the ability to do that, to I like those stacked. So what if we do like, but I don't think the percentages after all really do anything. And then what we could do, actually we can put measure values on all of that. There you go. Let's see, how do we want to do this? Because I'm thinking we could also do like, add some because what I said originally when we looked at this, right, was I like the ability to change the sort, but I also maybe want to compare against. So this is an interesting view, right? So for each, and then what we can do here is we can do sort this on total. Oh, right, it won't let me. Sort field descending off of total. There we go. So that way you have, so it's nested, right? The names are nested here, or the names here are nested. And then we have the sport, so, you know, or maybe it makes sense to have, because it really doesn't make sense to do average, right? Because we don't have an even distribution within each. But what's really interesting here, right? So if you look at this basketball, what I think is really interesting is basketball has the, or maybe what we could do, let's sort it this way. Let's sort it, I just want to see this real quick. Sort by name, count distinct, right? So this is interesting to me. Basketball has the highest number of people on the list, right? With let's keep only 15 people, right? So 15, they have the highest percentage of names on the list. And what's interesting about this is their on-field earnings are pretty much the same, right? They're all pretty much the same. Their endorsements are much larger. Now, this is when you only isolate it to the, right? This is only when you isolate it. So one thing we could do here, let's bring in that. Let's do that. Let's do a rank here. And I know I already, but I want to not do a rank. I want to do an index. I want to show you all why index is better than the rank table calculation. You heard me. So I want to index, I want to rank these based off of total earnings, but I want to maintain this view. Let's do specific dimensions, total earnings, sum descending. So this is pretty interesting, right? So if we go back here, let's put it here, right? You can see that, you know, LeBron James is the fourth highest out of the entire, right? Or rank, overall rank of that, right? Then we could do another index calculation. Discrete. And I want to do it based off of just the pane. Nope. Off of, off of this for each sport. Right? So you can see here it's going to recount everything, right? So I think that's pretty interesting. Like, and then you have what's interesting is that you have two outliers, right? Like you have a couple of players, a couple of athletes who are at the $100 million or in the $100 million on-field earnings rank, and then everyone else kind of sits in here between this 40 to 60, which I think is kind of interesting, right? I think that's really interesting. And then it really, like, I think what we're seeing here, the pattern that I am at least experiencing here, is that it's all about endorsements, right? Like your off-field earnings can play a major role in kind of, you know, what you're doing and how much you're making, right? So I think that's pretty interesting. So, okay. But we still haven't, so we're coming up on half past the hour. I've got about 25 minutes left. Let's figure this out. What are we going to do here? Yeah, I don't really like that. The scatter plot didn't really do anything for me here, so let's delete that. This one. Well, there's another, I mean, this is just another way to show that the majority of people make 40 to, 30 to 60 million, there's a lot of people here within this 30 to 75, right? This is on field. And then you have some outliers, but for the most part, you're going to be sitting here. Like, I think this is pretty fascinating right here, right? Like, all the basketball stars make around the same on the court, on the field, right? Whereas within golf, there's a lot of spread. Right? And even in football, there's a similar spread, but it skews a little bit more towards nothing. So, and also it should be noted, Alan mentioned it, is Tom Brady is retired. It says here he's only making $1.2 million. That is the last year he ever played football, and he played football for almost 20 years. So if you were to look at lifetime, like, that would be another kind of interesting table or an interesting value as lifetime earnings. All right, lifetime earnings. Not so. This is just single. I believe this is just single year earnings, whereas Tom Brady played football for 20 years, so he has made some money. Okay. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna redo this a little bit. I do like the index. However, what I'm gonna do is I want to allow people to. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna have a rank. I'm going to get rid of. I'm just going to have total earnings here. So we're going to set this up very similarly to the way that we had it. We'll change the colors later. But what I'm going to do is allow users to change the sort of what they're looking at, right? So we're gonna maintain the ability to search by rank, which is total earnings, but we're also gonna add the ability to filter by or to sort by on field or off field. So that's what we're gonna do, because I think it's really good, and I think that's what most people are gonna want to kind of look at here, right? So let's see. All right, so how are we going to do this? So the first thing that we need to do is create a parameter, and this is going to be a string field. This is going to be called psort. Psort dim. And for the purposes of this, I'll start it at total earnings. I think I'm going to change this to total earnings there. I'm going to put measure names here and measure values here, and then I'll just get rid of these. So there we have, right? So you can see here, and then what we'll do is we'll get rid of this. We'll edit this to get rid of the title. We don't want the value there, but we do want the title here, right? All right. Psort dim is going to be, right? We've got it on total earnings. Let's show that parameter. And let's do a worksheet action. Change parameter for sheet 1. Target parameter is psort dim, and this is going to be measure names. Sum. Nope. Yep. Right. And then we need to keep the current value. That's fine. Run it on select. This is going to be the change sort. Let's just make sure this is working. So right now it's total earnings. If I click on that, you can see it updates to total earning, or on the field earnings, off the field earnings, total earnings. Awesome. Now what we need to do is we need to be able to do something with that. All right. So remember, if you're new to Tableau, or if you haven't remembered it, or if you haven't heard this definition, parameters and parameter values live outside of the data source, and we have to find a way to bring them into the data source. And the way that we bring them into the data source is via a calculated field. So we're going to create a calculated field. We're going to call this sort val. And this is going, and then we have to do case pSortDim when. Now we can't use measure names. We can't use measure names as a calculated field as a reference in calculated fields, and that's okay. So we just have to kind of do this kind of piecemeal. So when total earnings, then total earnings. When on the field earnings, then on the field earnings, else off the field earnings, end. Okay. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to sort this now. Sort. We're now going to sort this descending by sort value. Okay? So now, whenever I click on the field, watch what happens. See how things start to change? Pretty cool. So, but we can do better than this. So from just a pure like functionality perspective, we've done it. But let's really make it nice. So I'm going to remove all those. I'm also going to I'm not going to show this header. Right? I'm going to delete these sheets, create a new sheet. It's just going to be measure names, total earnings on off, measure names on columns, measure names on, and then what we'll do here is we'll just put that there. We'll just put measure values in the tooltip, and then we'll just turn the tooltips off, right? We don't need the tooltips. But now what we're able to do, we've got this, right? And let's change the sort of this to be total on and then off. And then we'll do the same here. Sort manual. Let's turn that there, turn that there. There we go. Unshow that, don't show the header. Remove the borders. And then we'll center this. But we're not done yet. So now what we're going to do is, let me think about this. Think about how we're going to set this up. Because I want some sort of an indicator that says this is what we're sorting by. So, because I'm wondering if I have to do this. I think it'll be right. Okay, so this is going to be sorted total. And that's going to be if it's just going to be pSortDim equal total earnings. True or false? If that, then else or end. right? So what I'm doing here is I am going to, there it is. I'm going to put this there. There we go. So if p sort dim equals total earnings, then give me a downward triangle, else return null. I'm going to duplicate this 2 times, and you can probably see where I'm going with this. I'm just going to turn that. I'm just going to turn this into on the field. It's got to be spelled exactly. So on the capital F field, earnings, and we'll do on, and then they'll do this one, and this is, you guessed it, off the capital field earnings. And now, excuse me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all 3 of those and I'm going to drop them on label. And yep, okay. So this is one of the I had forgotten about this. So why, you may be thinking, why is that? Why am I getting a downward triangle for each one of them? Well, the reason is because I can't reference a because I can't reference measure names and measure names in a calculated field. So this is going to be true right? This is going to be true regardless. These other 2s are going to be false regardless, right? So what I actually need to do, so this will be total earnings, is I need to filter this down to just total earnings. And then I just need to remove these. And then I can format this. I think I want that. Here. Total earnings, right there, right? And then we'll do some formatting here. Medium, bump it up to 12. There we go. That looks good. Now from here, what I can do is I can just duplicate this. Call this on field. Change the measure name sort to on field. And then change this to the on field. And what you'll see is I don't get that, right? But what we need to do is just make sure that that's still right there, right? And then and now you can kind of see where we're headed here. So we'll duplicate this. We'll call this off field. We'll turn this into off field. And we'll take there and do that. Right? So, and this will be the table. Okay. So now whenever I go put it on a the other thing I think I need to do is, let's look at the worksheet actions. Here, actually, I don't want it on that. I want to activate the parameter action on my 3 header fields, not on the table. All right, yes, that's what I want. And I wanted it on select, and I wanted to be at the p sort and measure names. Yes, all that looks good. Okay, so now when we go to the dashboard and we put our table here, well, let's do it right. Let's do a vertical container. I like to add I like to always put 20 pixels of padding on my dashboards, and then I will do my table. I'll get rid of this, and then I'll do a horizontal container above that. And I will put my, well, first I'll put a text, and I'll put athlete, and it'll be 12 medium, like that. And then I'll put total earnings here, on field here, off field here. Hide my title, hide my title, hide my title. Edit height to be, what's 60 look like? And then the other thing that I'll do is I'll do distribute evenly. And so distribute evenly doesn't quite work, so I'll remove that. But I can edit this width to 100. And then we just kind of have to play with and then let's see, let's do no padding, and you can see it's working, right? There you go. There we go. And this probably doesn't need to be that big, so maybe 40. That looks good. So total earnings, yeah. There we go. And then what we'll do is we'll come in here to each one. Instead of centered, we'll do it on the right. Or we'll do it on the left is what I meant. Have it left aligned. Get rid of this. Okay. And then we've got our athlete. Let's format this. Alignment here. All right, now let's start to beautify this a bit. So let's find a nice color palette here. Total earnings should absolutely be green. Like, that makes sense. That's just I like that green. How about, and then we'll have like on field be I don't know about that. This is always the challenging part of doing this, right? Is deciding which color. Yeah, we'll do that, and off the field will be I don't know, they should just be the same color. So yeah, Sadir, good question. Yes, I will be doing Workout Wednesday, and so every single week you will definitely get a Workout Wednesday live stream on Fridays, every Friday afternoon, or every Friday morning, I should say, Friday morning my time. I do the live streams Friday mornings at 10 a.m. CDT. And then what I'm doing and then this time frame, Tuesday afternoons at 12 p.m. Central Time, CDT, I will be doing a live stream, and I'm going to alternate between Makeover Monday and Back to Viz Basics. So this week is Makeover Monday. Next Tuesday we'll be doing the Back to Viz Basics. Following week we'll be back to Makeover Monday, and then we'll swap those two. So that's what we're going to be. That's what we're going to be doing. Okay. Let's do a little bit. What else are we going to do? Oh, we got. Give these things a little bit more. There we go. Oh yeah, we do want the sport in there too. I don't know what happened there. Whoop. There we go. And let's do some formatting of here. Let's do formatting here. The axis is going to be currency millions. No decimal places. And whoop, we'll do measure. Yep, we'll do measure values. And the pane will be default on millions, but we will keep currency millions. There we go. There. All right. So we'll do format, currency, millions. So when you hover on the tooltip, you'll be able to see what the actual tool, what the actual 2 decimal place is. But on the axis, we don't need that level of granularity. So we'll just do that. So there we go, like that. So now we need to provide a little bit of, oh, yep, let's do text here, medium, 12, and we'll call this sport, edit width, smaller than that, edit width 60, bigger than that. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, and then that is there, but then we'll need to edit width here, make it like 200. Oh no. That's going to screw everything up. We'll lock this in. We've locked that, lock this at, there we go. And then, oh, nope. 220. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So there you go. And then, well, you can, and then, yeah, I do think we still want to have a filter for name and a filter for sport. This is going to be a single value drop down. This will be a single value drop down, multi-value drop down. This will be a multi-value drop down too. Multi-value drop down, add the apply button. Multi-value drop down, add the apply button. We'll make sure that these are only relevant values. There we go. And then we'll add another horizontal container here. And we'll put this back down here. Add in a blank. Add in a blank so that those are there. So again, the only thing I really added was the ability for you to sort on different things, right? So I think also, yeah, so that could be an interesting kind of another piece. I don't know. Do we want to do that? No, I'm out of time. Okay, so anyway, if I had more time, if I was going to do this more, I might add a few more rank here, right? So I'd add like overall rank, on-field rank, and off-field rank, so that you could be able to see that as well. But for now, I'm giving myself 60 minutes. That's what Makeover Monday is, right? It's not supposed to be anything crazy or overly designed, or it can be, right? But I'm giving myself an hour. Go play in Tableau. Go try a few things, learn a few things, and there you go. So I'll end it here. But so we'll go ahead. Let's go back here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, Alan. Hope you learned a few things along the way, and learned a little bit about user experience, user interface design in Tableau, and how to do some of these things, parameter actions, and then getting some custom icons for indicating to your end users what they've done or clicked on, which will be good too. So yeah. Of course, now that I'm thinking about it, I could change, if I were to change one more thing, I would change the green color to be green on whatever is also sorted. So anyway, that should be good. So thank you so much. As always, my name is Sean Miller, Hipster Viz Ninja. Like the bubble says, we are data people. Go forth and viz.